This is the Qtv Nightly News, and I am Loliam Kamara. Thank you for joining us. Here are the headlines. On Friday, the Gambia government, in collaboration with the Secretariat of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, commenced the 83rd Ordinary Session of the Commission to address human rights issues impacting the continent. ECOWAS parliamentarians concluded the decolonization session in Banjul on Thursday with a unified call for the return of Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger to the regional bloc. The National Agency for Legal Aid and Partners launched a 3-day intensive training on Friday for legal aid practitioners. The training opened in Sindola in Kanela in Fonyi Kansala. The International Organization for Migration, IOM, in collaboration with the Ministry of Environment and the Ministry of Trade, launched a project aimed at addressing climate-related factors that drive migration in rural communities. In sports news, the Gambia is set to face Algeria in the qualifiers of the African Nations Championship, known as CHAN, on Saturday at the Independence Stadium. Those were the headlines. Now, the news in detail. On Friday, the Gambia government, in collaboration with the Secretariat of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, commenced the 83rd Ordinary Session of the Commission to address human rights issues in the continent. Mayam Nabuka reports.
The event, set to last for 21 days, brought together state delegates, civil society organizations, NGOs, and human rights advocates to engage in both private and public sessions that will focus on various human rights issues. These sessions will feature panels on diverse topics spanning the role of reparations in addressing historical and contemporary injustices, migrant rights, modern-day slavery and exploitation, freedom of association, disability rights, gender justice, as well as state periodic report reviews. Remingoy Lumbu, the chairperson of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, highlighted the importance of collaboration among African nations in tackling systemic challenges and promoting sustainable development through respect of human rights.
Cette 83e session ordinaire offre aux différentes parties prenantes.
Africa continues to bear the highest number of people whose rights are consistently violated. The continent is ailing, and at the heart of this illness is the persistent failure of governments, both within and beyond Africa, to uphold the rights of their people. The time for action is now. It is imperative that we confront these issues with a shared commitment to peace and justice, guided by the aspirations enshrined in the African Charter on Human and People's Rights.
A key focus will be placed on addressing challenges including the armed conflict persistent in the Sahel region and the Democratic Republic of Congo, the racism taking place in sub-Saharan Africa where countless migrants continue to lose their lives, the civil war in Sudan, as well as countries that haven't worked on criminalizing FGM. This also comes as part of efforts to push forward the African Union's 2063 agenda, which aims to transform Africa into a global powerhouse that is integrated, prosperous, peaceful, and focused on inclusive and sustainable development. This is Immaculada Roca y Cortez, the European Union ambassador to the Gambia.
The European Union supports the African Union vision to invest in conflict prevention, not only in conflict resolution. And we're doing it tackling the root causes of conflict, which is basically protecting rights, strengthening institutions, upholding the rule of law. Those are essential preconditions for resilience, development, and the creation of economic opportunities that create growth and jobs.
Ismaila Cisse, the Gambia's Minister of Information, spoke on behalf of the Minister of Justice, Dauda A. Jallow.
It is evident that we are living in a tumultuous world, characterized by international wars and widespread violence across the continent. We are privileged to provide a platform for critical discussions and decisions to advance the rights and freedom of all African people.
The African Commission on Human and People's Rights is a quasi-judicial body responsible for the application of the provisions of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. The Commission is based in Banjul, the Gambia, where it often holds its biannual ordinary sessions. Mamna Buka, reporting for QTV News.
ECOWAS parliamentarians concluded a significant decolonization session in Banjul on Thursday with a unified call to the return of Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger to the regional bloc. The withdrawal of these nations, who continue to remain steadfast on their decision, has raised concerns over regional stability, security and economic integration. Aliou Cisse has more.
ECOWAS parliamentarians under the Joint Committee on Political Affairs, Peace, Security and African Peer Review Mechanism, Legal Affairs and Human Rights, Trade, Customs and Free Movement, and Social Affairs, Gender, Women Empowerment and Persons with Disabilities, convened in Banjul from April 28 to address the repercussions of the recent withdrawal of Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger from ECOWAS. The session themed considering the political, socio-economic and humanitarian impact of the withdrawal, brought together parliamentarians and key stakeholders to deliberate on the path forward. Speaking at the closing ceremony, Veronica Kadisise, Chair of the Committee on Social Affairs, Gender, Women Empowerment and Persons with Disabilities, emphasized the gravity of the situation, stating that the withdrawal of these countries threatens the unity, stability and achievements of the regional bloc.
Let us come together as a team. No matter what, we agree to disagree. There are so many things. We are human. We can correct things along the way. And as you heard from the other resource persons, we asked them, what are their roles and responsibilities? If what we have done yesterday or these few days, it was what we started with, I don't think we'll reach to this climax. But with all that, we are humans. We know we'll correct it as we go along. But it's heart-rending to leave a place where you've been for the past 50 years.
In what was a highly restricted closed-door session, parliamentarians discussed the potential consequences of the withdrawal, including disruptions to trade, security cooperation, and humanitarian aid. They acknowledged the sovereignty of the departing states, but stressed the importance of unity in addressing common challenges. Here is Senator Edwin Melvin Sino Jr. of Liberia, who also serves as the chair of the Committee on Political Affairs, Peace, Security, and African Peer Review Mechanism.
We have not given up. We know that it's a tall order, but we have not given up. We continue to pursue our brothers and sisters to return to this community. And that is why in one of our deliberations, we made special recognition to the President of Ghana, President John Mahama. He's the latest on the block among the head of states, but he has been going all out to ensure that we got Mali, Burkina, and Niger back into our community. And whatever assistance or contribution that President Mahama or any head of state may require of the ECOWAS Parliament, be assured of our fullest support in obtaining this goal. Personally, as chair of the Joint Committee, would like to extend thanks to the President of the Republic of the Gambia, His Excellency President Adama Barrow, who has put to our disposal all of what we need, or what we needed for the hosting of our meetings.
As the session concluded, parliamentarians will come up with resolutions, and they remain hopeful that dialogue and mutual understanding will pave the way for the integration and strengthening cooperation. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
The National Agency for Legal Aid, NALA, in partnership with the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, and the European Union through the GREAT project, launched a 3-day intensive training on Friday for legal aid practitioners. The training opened in Sindola in Kanela in Fonyi, Kansala. Osman Jata reports.
Plea bargaining, a long-standing principle in common law, is used in many countries to ease court caseloads, encourage offender accountability, support rehabilitation, and reduce the emotional toll on victims by avoiding long trials. Experts say it is an effective tool in building efficient, fair, and timely justice systems. This training is aimed at strengthening the capacity of NALA's legal aid practitioners to better serve vulnerable groups, cut down criminal case backlogs, and improve the overall performance of the Gambia's justice sector. Aliou Jallo, Executive Secretary of NALA, emphasized the significance of the training in promoting a justice system that truly meets the needs of the people.
This training, generously supported by the EU UNDP GREAT project, marks an important milestone in our ongoing efforts to build a justice system that is truly responsive, inclusive, and equitable. The GREAT project's commitment to promoting good governance and human rights aligns perfectly with NALA's mandate to ensure that no one is denied justice because of their economic or social status.
The event's theme, Expanding Legal Aid Through Plea Negotiations, addresses one of the major challenges in the justice sector: how to deliver justice efficiently while protecting the rights of accused persons. James Moniba, a representative of the EU UNDP GREAT project, highlighted the role of plea deals in improving judicial efficiency and relieving pressure on the courts.
The EU and UNDP are proud to work hand in hand with the Ministry of Justice and NALA in delivering sustainable access to justice solutions. At UNDP, we believe that strengthening the rule of law is fundamental to promoting inclusive governance, safeguarding human rights, and achieving the Sustainable Development Goals.
Senior State Counsel Omar Sibi emphasized the importance of the initiative in strengthening the delivery of justice.
The sheer volume of criminal cases today makes it nearly impossible for the court system to handle every case through a full trial. Plea bargaining allows the court to resolve cases quickly, reducing the strain on resources, judges, court personnel.
A responsive justice system, stakeholders noted, is one that listens, adapts, and serves all members of society fairly, ensuring justice is neither delayed nor denied. The training is led by Lamin S. Kamara, a seasoned private legal practitioner who serves as the chief resource person.
They are a key component in the justice delivery system, and without them, cases will suffer so long and will drag in the courts for a very long time. And you know the old adage that justice delayed is justice denied.
Participants Francis C. Anyanwo and Choma Oduma shared their expectations.
There are situations where certain accused persons might take a guilty plea for a lesser offense than that which they have been charged with. And we are looking forward to a decongestion of our prisons and fast-tracking our criminal justice system.
I also want to learn about how it's going to affect our criminal justice system in the future, and how it will help the courts, how it will help the Ministry of Justice, the prosecutors, and how it will help NALA as a whole, most especially in decongesting the caseloads that NALA has.
The knowledge and skills gained are expected not only to build the professional capacity of NALA's legal aid staff, but also contribute to national efforts aimed at making justice more accessible to all. Osman Jata, reporting for QTV News.
We are taking a short commercial break. When we return, we will look into the lifting of sanctions on Gabon following the African Union's recent visit to Libreville, where they confirmed significant progress towards restoring constitutional order after the 2023 military coup.
réewu Gambia ana ñu ko doon waajal di laajte kañ la ak fan la dama ne may ma sa noppa ma dey la waa Kombo Beach Resort ñoo leen indil Amados borom Masamba Waalo mu nar a ñoo def kala diina bu doy waar bu nar a neex andi 9 of May lay doon dama ne lii foor na ñu ne amuñu ci loolu dinañu indi Awa Gambia xale bu mun a wëy Awa Gambia nooy ñëwee mu ne ma kapsin dinaa def lu foor ndax kat ku ma xam ma ci mbalax mu tar mi dinaa indi ñaar fukki sabar waaw kay Kombo Beach Resort ne amuñu ci loolu dinañu indi malls mu ñëw toj Souleymane yi ñëw toccanti ko kon nag book leen seeni tables gold table $50,000 platinum table $60,000 individual duga bi $4,000 kon nag reservation enquiries number 764-7777.
sama mbokku Gambien yi maa leen jox rendez-vous inshallah le 9 mai waaw Kombo Beach.
Wow, Sadio, ça va? Ça va, Yandia. Oryx, with you all the way.
Powered by Africa, Oryx Energies.
Welcome back, and this is QTV News. The International Organization for Migration, IOM, in partnership with the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Natural Resources and the Ministry of Trade, launched a project on Wednesday titled Addressing the Adverse Climate-Related Drivers of Migration for Rural Communities in the Gambia. Here is Momodu Gajaga.
In efforts to combat climate change, its related effects, the project launch is aimed at building capacities of rural communities to develop and implement effective adaptation measures to mitigate migration influenced by climate change. Rural communities are the worst affected when it comes to the threat of their livelihoods, especially those in the agricultural sector. Sukai B. Cham is the National Program Officer, Migration Management at the International Organization for Migration.
So this project is a concrete step towards mitigating these consequences as it aims to amplify the voices of affected populations, protect their rights, and respect their freedom to those who choose to stay or migrate. Through resilience building, inclusive development, and sustainable community-based solutions, this initiative would support rural communities, particularly the youth, women, and persons with disabilities, in minimizing the structural factors contributing to displacement.
Climate change negative impacts on rural communities are numerous. Adverse weather, low crop yield, poor rainfall, and damage to infrastructure when there is extreme rainfall. Some of these effects, related to sources of livelihood for communities, can cause migration. Baba Jambe is the Director of Employment at the Ministry of Trade, Industry, Regional Integration and Employment.
Migration, one of the pointers that makes people to move from one place to another, is not just for economic reasons. Sometimes it's the adverse effect that we also have within the environment. So what I'm saying here is this project has come to look at that aspect to ensure that at least we provide solutions.
Mariaman Daujaju, Director of Central Project Coordinating Unit at the Ministry of Environment, says the project will work in the most climate vulnerable communities in the Gambia.
This project will empower communities to transform climate challenges into opportunities, strengthen socio cohesion, and reduce pressure to migrate under distress. This launch is not just the beginning of a project, it is a reaffirmation of our commitment to climate resilience, inclusive development, and the dignity of every Gambian.
In the face of climate-related environmental change, such as the decline of productive agricultural land, rural residents may be forced to migrate in search of work. This project aims to address some of those challenges. Mamadou Gajaga, Qtv News.
The African Union has lifted sanctions on Gabon after a recent mission to Libreville confirmed progress towards restoring constitutional order. The review found encouraging steps taken by transitional authorities following the 2023 military coup. Our Bob tells us more.
Gabon was suspended from the AU in August 2023 after General Brice Oligui Nguema seized power, ousting President Ali Bongo, whose family had ruled for over 5 decades. In a statement on Wednesday, the AU's Peace and Security Council said it had been reviewed the transition process and found it generally successful. Gabon is now permitted to immediately resume her participation in the organization's activities. The decision follows a prior appeal by Nguema during a meeting with Ivorian President Alassane Ouattara, where he sought regional support to end Gabon's suspension. After pledging a 2-year transition to civilian rule, Nguema was elected president in April with 94% of the vote under a new constitution that grants expanded executive powers. Gambia's President Adama Barrow is scheduled to travel to Gabon to attend the inauguration of the President-elect Brice Oligui Nguema on Saturday, May 3rd. He will depart from Banjul International Airport at 10 a.m. on Friday, May 2nd. Local observers reported that the April elections in Gabon were conducted under generally satisfactory and transparent conditions. For QTV News, I am our Bob.
Next is the sports news. The Gambia is set to face Algeria in the qualifiers of CAF African Nations Championship, known as CHAN, on Saturday at the Independent Stadium. This will mark resumption of competitive football at the stadium after CAF temporarily lifted the 3-year ban on the stadium 2 weeks ago. Once again, we hear from Mamadou Gajaga.
Speaking at a press conference on Friday, Gambia CHAN team head coach Alhaji Sarr said his team is well prepared for Saturday's first leg playoff against Algeria in the CAF African Nations Championship qualifiers. He expressed confidence in his squad's ability to perform while acknowledging the strength of the Algerian side.
Technically and tactically, the mental, physical, everything is okay. We have some injuries in the camp, 2 players that we have to look at them in this evening training. So from there, we can decide whether they can be playing for tomorrow or not. They will not be playing. Not about to have the team that can play against them, but we select the best teams that we believe they will represent the country. So those are the players that are going to play, and I have confidence in those players.
The squad is composed of players from Gambia's domestic league, spanning from the 1st to the 2nd division. Among the new additions is Pamodu Sahna of BST Galaxy, who missed the first round clash. Coach Alhaji Sarr noted his familiarity with North African teams, citing his past experience facing them in CAF club competitions.
With my little knowledge, I have the experience of these North African teams. I have played against a club Africans in Tunis, Raja Casablanca, Fous Rabat, you name them. And those are big teams, and I have a little bit experience and know how they play. This Algerian team, they will try, for the first 10 minutes, they will try to score the goal. If they couldn't, they will wait for the second half. The last 10 minutes in the first half. If they couldn't score a goal, they have to wait again. And I know it's a team that will wait and look what we want to play.
The Gambia has a chance to make history by defeating Algeria on Saturday and securing a favorable result in the return leg. A victory would mark the country's first ever qualification for the CAF African Nations Championship CHAN since the tournament's inception in 2009. Coach Alhaji Sarr highlighted the significance of this opportunity for his team.
This is the first time we reach this level. So if we win tomorrow and qualify, it's the history for them. And this is what we always say in training. We want to make history. We want to qualify for the first time of CHAN.
There has been great excitement surrounding the return of football to the Independence Stadium. After 4 years of watching the national team play away from home, fans are eager to see a strong performance from the Gambia CHAN team against Algeria. Mamadou Gajaga, Qtv News.
Before we end, here is a recap of the headlines. On Friday, the Gambia government, in collaboration with the Secretariat of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, commenced the 83rd Ordinary Session of the Commission to address human rights issues impacting the continent. ECOWAS parliamentarians concluded the decolonization session in Banjul on Thursday with a unified call for the return of Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger to the regional bloc. The International Organization for Migration, IOM, in collaboration with the Ministry of Environment and the Ministry of Trade, has launched a project aimed at addressing climate-related factors that drive migration in rural communities. The National Agency for Legal Aid and Partners launched a 3-day intensive training on Friday for legal aid practitioners. The training opened in Sindola in Kanila in Fonyi Kansala. In sports news, the Gambia is set to face Algeria in the qualifiers of the CAF African Nations Championship known as CHAN on Saturday at the Independence Stadium. That's all for now in this news bulletin. Join us tomorrow at 8 p.m. for another bulletin. Thanks for watching.